Have you ever watched strangers from a distance and imagined their lives? Have you ever been so sure about something, only to realize later that your mind might be playing tricks on you? What if you saw something disturbing, something that could change everything, but no one believed you? Welcome to The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, a psychological thriller that will keep you guessing until the very end. This is not just a story. It's a mystery, a puzzle, and a deep look into a mind filled with doubts. Today, we begin our journey into this gripping book, told in a way that makes you feel like you're inside the story. So, close your eyes, listen closely, and step into the world of the girl on the train. Rachel sits by the window, her forehead resting against the cool glass. The train moves forward, rocking gently on the tracks. She watches the houses blur past. Brick walls, green gardens, white fences. And then, there it is, a beautiful house near the tracks. She sees them, Jess and Jason, as she calls them in her mind. Perfect couple. The way he holds her waist, the way she tilts her head to laugh. Rachel imagines their love is pure, effortless. But Rachel's own life is nothing like that. Her hands tremble as she grips the can of gin and tonic hidden in her bag. She has no job, but she still takes the train every morning, pretending she has somewhere to go. She doesn't want her roommate to know the truth. Her ex-husband, Tom, lives just a few houses away from Jess and Jason. But Tom has moved on. He has a new wife now, Anna, a new baby, a new life. And Rachel, she is just a passenger watching from the train until one day, everything changes. As the train slows down at a signal, Rachel looks out of the window. Her eyes lock onto something shocking, something that shouldn't be happening. And just like that, her fantasy shatters. What did Rachel see? And why does it haunt her so much? If you're hooked already, hit the like button and subscribe our channel so you don't miss the next part. Rachel cannot stop thinking about what she saw from the train window. Every morning and evening, she watches the same house, the same couple. But this time, something was different. She saw the woman, the one she calls Jess, standing on the balcony, but she was not alone. She was with another man, someone who was not Jason. Rachel feels uneasy. She has created a perfect story about this couple in her head. In her mind, they are happy, in love, living a life full of joy. But now, after what she saw, her image of them is broken. She cannot understand why Jess would be with another man. Was she unhappy? Was she lying to Jason? Rachel wants to believe that she imagined it, but deep down, she knows she didn't. The thought does not leave her mind. It stays with her, growing stronger each day. Then, something even more shocking happens. A few days later, Rachel sees the news. The woman, whose real name is Megan, not Jess, has gone missing. She disappeared without a trace. Rachel feels a strange connection to Megan. She has never met her, never spoken to her, but she feels like she knows her. She has watched her from a distance, imagined her life, and now, she is gone. Rachel cannot help but wonder if what she saw that night is important. Could it be connected to Megan's disappearance? Did the man she saw have something to do with it? Rachel wants to tell someone, but there is a problem. She drinks too much. Her memory is often unclear, and she sometimes forgets things. People do not always believe her. Even she does not always trust herself. But this time she feels sure. She knows she saw something. The more she thinks about it, the more she feels she must do something. She cannot stay silent. She decides to go to the police. She tells them about the man on the balcony, about how Megan was with someone else that night. But the police do not seem very interested in her story. To them, Rachel is just an unemployed woman with a drinking problem, someone who does not always remember things correctly. But Rachel does not give up. She starts to dig deeper into Megan's life. She wants to know more about her husband Scott, the man she called Jason. She wants to understand what really happened to Megan. The more she learns, the more she realizes that nothing is as it seems. Megan was not the perfect woman Rachel imagined. She had secrets, deep, dark secrets, and now she is missing. Rachel is caught in a mystery she does not fully understand. She wants to help, but she is also afraid, because the closer she gets to the truth, the more dangerous things become. Rachel cannot let it go. She knows the police do not trust her, but she feels a responsibility to find out what happened to Megan. She spends her days reading every news article about the case, watching interviews, and trying to put the pieces together. The more she learns, the more she realizes that Megan was not the happy, perfect wife she had imagined. Rachel decides to take a step further. She wants to talk to Megan's husband, Scott. She feels like she owes it to him. Maybe she can help him understand what really happened to his wife. She finds Scott's phone number in a news article and, after hesitating for a long time, she calls him. She introduces herself, but she does not tell him the whole truth. She does not say she has been watching them from the train. Instead, she tells him she knew Megan, that she saw something important the night Megan disappeared. Scott is desperate for answers. He invites Rachel to his house, and for the first time, she steps into the home she has watched for so long from the train window. The house looks different from what she imagined. It does not feel warm and full of love. Feels tense. There are pictures of Megan on the walls, but something about them makes Rachel uncomfortable. Megan is smiling in the photos, but her eyes look sad. Rachel can sense that this house has secrets. Scott listens carefully as Rachel tells him about the man she saw Megan with on the balcony. She describes him. Dark hair, strong build, someone she had never seen before. Scott looks shocked. He asks her again and again if she is sure. Rachel says yes. She feels good. For the first time, someone believes her. Scott is thankful. He tells her that Megan had been acting strange before she disappeared. She was distant, distracted. Now, after hearing Rachel's story, he is convinced that Megan was hiding something. Rachel leaves Scott's house feeling like she has done something right. But the more involved she becomes, the more complicated things get. She starts to remember fragments of something from the night Megan disappeared. That night, Rachel had been drinking, as she often did. She had blacked out. But now, she remembers being near the underpass, not far from Megan's house. She remembers falling, hurting herself, and she remembers something else. Something blurry, something frightening. A man, a voice, a struggle. Rachel tries to force herself to remember more, but the memories feel like they are locked inside her mind. She knows she saw something important that night, but what? Was it Megan? Was it the man she saw on the balcony? Or was it something else? Something even worse? She feels dizzy with questions. The more she learns, the less she understands. And then, something unexpected happens. Rachel receives a message from an unknown number. Stop asking questions. Rachel stares at the message, her hands shaking. Someone is watching her. Someone knows she is getting too close, and they want her to stop. Rachel cannot ignore the message. It sends a chill down her spine. But instead of making her stop, it makes her more determined. Someone does not want her to dig deeper, and that means she is on the right track. But who sent the message? Was it Scott, the mysterious man she saw Megan with, or someone else entirely? Rachel tries to think clearly, but it is difficult. Her drinking has made her memory weak. She often confuses real events with her imagination. She wants to trust herself, but sometimes she cannot. Still, she refuses to give up. She starts going back to the places connected to that night. She hopes that being there will help her remember. One evening, Rachel walks to the underpass where she thinks she last saw Megan. The place feels dark and empty, but something about it stirs a feeling deep inside her. A memory flickers in her mind. She remembers being here. She remembers seeing a woman, stumbling, scared. Was it Megan? She cannot be sure. But then, another image flashes in her mind. Someone grabbing her arm. Someone whispering something angrily. The memory is not clear, but it feels real. Rachel's heart pounds. Was she in danger that night? Did she witness something more than she realized? She sits down on a bench, closing her eyes, trying to pull more memories from the darkness of her mind. But before she can think further, she hears footsteps approaching. She turns and sees a familiar face. Tom, her ex-husband. He looks surprised to see her there. He asks her why she keeps getting involved in something that is none of her business. His voice is calm, but Rachel can sense tension underneath. She tells him she just wants to help. She tells him she saw Megan with another man before she disappeared. Tom sighs. He tells her she needs to stop. He reminds her that her drinking has caused trouble before, that she often sees things that are not real. He says Anna, his new wife, is worried about Rachel's behavior. Rachel feels anger rise inside her. Anna, the woman who replaced her, the woman who has the life that Rachel lost. Rachel walks away from Tom, frustrated but more certain than ever that she is right. She saw something important that night, something that could explain what happened to Megan. She just needs to remember more. The next day, Rachel decides to go back to Scott's house. He had believed her before, and she wants to see if he has learned anything new. When she arrives, Scott looks different. His face is tense. His hands are shaking. He tells Rachel that the police questioned him. They asked him about Megan's life, about their marriage, about whether he hurt her. Rachel is shocked. Scott insists that he did not do anything to Megan. But he admits that their marriage was not perfect. Megan was distant, secretive. Sometimes, she would leave the house without telling him where she was going. Sometimes she would stay out late, coming home smelling of alcohol and something else. Something that was not his. Scott never asked questions. But now he wonders if Megan was having an affair. Rachel listens carefully. She realizes that Scott is starting to suspect the same thing she does. That the man on the balcony is connected to Megan's disappearance. She tells Scott that they need to find out who he is. If they can do that, maybe they will understand what happened to Megan. Scott agrees. He takes out Megan's old phone and hands it to Rachel. He says he could never bring himself to go through it. Maybe Rachel can find something inside that will help. Rachel takes the phone with shaking hands. This is the first real clue she has. She scrolls through Megan's messages, looking for anything unusual. Most of them are normal texts from friends, emails, social media updates. But then she finds something strange. A series of messages from an unknown number. Messages that say things like, "We need to be careful. I can't do this anymore. Meet me tonight. We have to talk." Rachel's breath catches in her throat. These messages were sent just days before Megan disappeared. She checks the call history. Megan had spoken to this number many times. It was someone important. Rachel knows what she has to do. She has to find out who this number belongs to, because whoever it is, they might be the last person who saw Megan alive. Rachel stares at the phone screen, her mind racing. These messages are important. They could be the key to understanding what happened to Megan. But she does not recognize the number. She needs to find out who it belongs to. She thinks for a moment and then does something risky. She saves the number on her own phone and opens a messaging app. Her fingers shake as she types a simple message. "Who is this?" She waits, her heart pounding. A few minutes pass, and then, to her surprise, a response appears. "You know who this is. Stop texting me." Rachel's stomach tightens. This person thinks she is someone else. Maybe they think she is Megan. She needs to keep them talking. She quickly types again. "I need to see you. We have to talk." The reply comes almost instantly. "No, it's over. Leave me alone." Rachel takes a deep breath. She does not want to push too hard and scare them away. But now she knows for sure. This person was involved in Megan's life, and they do not want to be found. She decides to take another risk. Instead of texting again, she calls the number. The phone rings once, twice, then the call is rejected. Whoever it is, they do not want to talk. Rachel puts the phone down. Frustrated, she feels so close, but at the same time, she is still missing something. She decides to go to the police again. She brings Megan's phone with her and tells them about the messages. She hopes they will finally take her seriously. But the officer she speaks to looks unimpressed. He asks her how she got the phone. When she tells him Scott gave it to her, the officer frowns. "You shouldn't be interfering in an active investigation," he says. "You need to let us do our job." Rachel feels a rush of anger. She is trying to help, but no one believes her. She asks if they will trace the number. The officer sighs and says they will look into it. But Rachel can tell he does not think it is important. She leaves the station. Frustrated, she cannot just wait for the police to act. She needs to keep searching for answers on her own. That night, Rachel dreams about the underpass again. She hears voices, sees shadows. She sees Megan, her face frightened, her hands reaching out, and then pain, a flash of something sharp, a scream. Rachel wakes up, breathing hard. Was it just a dream, or was it a memory? The next day, she goes to see Scott again. She tells him about the messages. He looks surprised. She never mentioned anything like this. He says, but she did seem distant, like something was wrong. Rachel hesitates, then asks, "Do you think Megan was having an affair?" Scott is silent for a long time. Then he nods slowly. "I never wanted to believe it. But yes, she was hiding something." Rachel shows him the number. "Do you recognize this?" Scott stares at the screen. His expression darkens. "Yes," he says quietly. "That's Kamal." Rachel feels a jolt of shock. Kamal Abdick, Megan's therapist, the man she was supposed to be seeing for help, the man she trusted with her secrets. Scott's hands tighten into fists. "I knew something was going on between them. I just didn't have proof." Rachel feels like the world is spinning. This changes everything. If Megan was involved with Kamal, then he is more than just her therapist. He might be the last person who saw her alive. She knows what she has to do. She needs to meet Kamal. She needs to hear the truth from him herself. Rachel cannot stop thinking about Kamal Abdick. The more she learns about him, the more suspicious he seems. Megan was his patient, but they had a secret relationship. Did it mean something? Did he love her? Or was there something darker between them? Rachel has to find out. She decides to follow him. She knows where his office is, where he sees his patients. One afternoon, she walks past the clinic, pretending to be on her way somewhere else. She sees him through the window, sitting in his office, talking to someone. He looks calm, professional, but Rachel wonders what is beneath that calm face. She wonders if he is hiding something. She does not stop there. A few days later, she follows him after work. She keeps her distance as he walks through the streets. She watches as he enters a cafe and sits alone, drinking coffee. He does not seem nervous or guilty, but Rachel knows that does not mean anything. She wants to speak to him, but she does not know how. If she walks up to him and asks about Megan, he might just lie. She needs a better plan. Then she has an idea. She will pretend to be a patient. Rachel books an appointment at his clinic. She feels nervous as she sits in the waiting room. What if he recognizes her? What if he already knows she has been asking questions about Megan? She tries to stay calm. Finally, Kamal calls her into his office. He is polite, professional. He asks how he can help her. Rachel hesitates, then says she has been struggling with anxiety and depression. It is not a complete lie. She has been drinking too much, feeling lost. Maybe he will believe her. Kamal listens carefully as she talks. He does not seem suspicious. He asks her gentle questions about her feelings, about her past. Rachel answers, but she slowly tries to turn the conversation toward Megan. She says, "I had a friend once who saw a therapist. She said she got really close to him." Kamal nods, but he does not say anything. Rachel watches his face. Sometimes, I wonder if it's dangerous when a patient and therapist get too close. She continues, Kamal sighs. It can be difficult, he admits. Therapists have to be careful not to cross professional boundaries. Rachel leans forward. Did you ever have a patient like that? For the first time, Kamal looks uncomfortable. He does not answer right away. Then he says, sometimes patients feel emotionally attached to their therapists, but it is important to keep things professional. Rachel's heart races. He is not denying it, but he is not telling the truth either. She wants to push further, but she has to be careful. She looks down, pretending to be nervous. I just don't know who to trust, she says quietly. Kamal's voice softens. You should trust yourself. Rachel leaves the session feeling confused. Kamal did not say anything directly, but she feels like he is hiding something. He did not act like a guilty man, but maybe he is just very good at controlling his emotions. As she walks away from the clinic, she thinks about what to do next. She could go to the police, but they already do not take her seriously. She could tell Scott, but she is not sure what he will do. Then something happens that changes everything. That night, Rachel takes the train home as usual. She stares out the window, lost in thought. Then she sees something shocking. She sees Anna, Tom's wife, standing outside their house, and she is arguing with Kamal Abdik. Rachel's body tenses. What is Kamal doing there? How does he know Anna? Why are they arguing? Rachel watches as Anna crosses her arms, shaking her head. Kamal says something, then turns and walks away. Rachel feels a surge of fear and excitement. This cannot be a coincidence. Kamal was connected to Megan. Now he is connected to Anna. What does it mean? She needs to find out. Rachel cannot stop thinking about what she saw. Kamal Abdik and Anna, standing outside the house, arguing. What was he doing there? How did they even know each other? Rachel knows she has to find out, but she has to be careful. If she makes the wrong move, people will stop talking to her. The next day, she walks past Tom and Anna's house. She does not mean to, but she slows down when she reaches it. She sees Anna in the front yard, playing with her baby. Anna looks up and sees Rachel. Her face hardens. She does not want to talk. Rachel forces a smile. Hey, Anna, she says. Anna picks up her baby and turns away. Rachel, I really don't have time for this, she says. Rachel hesitates. She does not want Anna to shut her out completely. I saw you yesterday, she says carefully, with Kamal Abdik. Anna freezes. Then she turns around slowly. You need to stop watching me, she says. Her voice is low, angry. Rachel shakes her head. I wasn't watching you. I was on the train. I saw you by accident. Anna glares at her. It's none of your business. Rachel steps closer. But it is about Megan, isn't it? She says. Did you know her? Anna's face changes. For a moment, she looks uncertain. Then she takes a deep breath. I didn't know her well, she says. She used to babysit for us sometimes. Rachel is surprised. Megan was their babysitter? She never knew that. Anna keeps talking. She was friendly, but I didn't like her much. I thought she was careless. Rachel processes this. She always thought Megan was perfect, beautiful, graceful, in love with her husband, but now she wonders if she really knew anything about her. Anna crosses her arms. Look, I don't want to talk about this. Just leave me alone. Rachel nods slowly. She knows she won't get anything more from Anna right now, but she has learned something important. Megan had been in their house. She had been around Tom, around Anna. Rachel walks away, her mind racing. She needs to find out more. She decides to go back to Scott. He is the only one who is willing to talk to her. When she arrives at his house, he looks tired and pale. He lets her in without a word. Rachel sits down on the couch. Scott, I need to ask you something. She says, did you know that Megan used to babysit for Tom and Anna? Scott frowns. What? No. She never told me that. Rachel's stomach tightens. She never mentioned them? Scott shakes his head. She talked about babysitting sometimes, but she never said who for. Why? Rachel hesitates. She doesn't know how much she should tell him, but she decides to be honest. Because I saw Kamal Abdik talking to Anna yesterday. Scott's eyes widen. The therapist? Rachel nods. Scott stands up and starts pacing. What the hell is going on? He mutters. Rachel watches him. I don't know, she says, but I think Megan's disappearance is connected to them somehow. Scott stops pacing and looks at her. Then we need to find out the truth. Rachel swallows. She wants the truth too, but she knows they have to be careful, because the closer they get to the truth, the more dangerous things might become. Rachel cannot shake the feeling that she is getting closer to the truth. She knows that something connects Megan, Kamal Abdik, and Anna, but she still does not understand what. The missing pieces of the puzzle are just out of reach, and it is frustrating. She continues to see Scott, trying to help him and herself at the same time. She keeps asking questions, trying to learn more about Megan's life before she disappeared. Scott is eager to talk, but he is also starting to lose control. He is drinking more, and Rachel notices how easily his emotions shift. From sadness to anger, from confusion to frustration. She does not know if she should be afraid of him, but she cannot walk away now. One evening, Rachel visits Scott again. He looks exhausted. his eyes dark with sleeplessness. "I found something," he says as soon as she walks in. He does not even offer her a drink like he usually does. He seems too distracted. Rachel's heart races. "What did you find?" Scott grabs his phone and pulls up an old message. It's from Megan. She sent it about a week before she went missing. Rachel takes the phone and reads the message. Megan had written, "I need to talk to you. There's something I haven't told you. I can't keep it a secret anymore." Rachel looks up at Scott. "Did she ever tell you what it was?" Scott shakes his head. "No. I asked her, but she said she wasn't ready yet." He runs a hand through his hair. "I thought maybe she was going to tell me she was pregnant. She had been acting different lately." Rachel's breath catches. "Pregnant?" Scott nods. "She didn't say it directly, but I noticed small things. She stopped drinking as much. She seemed nervous. I thought she was waiting for the right moment to tell me." Rachel thinks about this. If Megan was pregnant, was the baby Scott's? Or was it someone else's? Could it have been Kamal's? Or even Tom's? The thought makes her stomach turn. Rachel decides to go back to Kamal's office. She is not sure if he will talk to her, but she has to try. She waits outside the clinic until she sees him leaving. She follows him for a short distance before calling his name. Kamal turns, surprised to see her. "Rachel." She walks up to him. "I need to talk to you." He hesitates, then nods. "Okay, but not here. Let's go somewhere quiet." They find a small cafe nearby. Rachel sits across from him, feeling nervous. "I know you treated Megan," she says carefully, "and I know you were close to her." Kamal looks down at his coffee. "She was my patient," he says. "I tried to help her." Rachel leans forward. "She was pregnant, wasn't she?" Kamal looks up sharply. "What?" "She was acting strange before she disappeared. She was hiding something from her husband." "Was she pregnant?" Kamal exhales slowly. "I don't know," he says. "She never told me that." Rachel studies him. He seems sincere, but she cannot be sure. "Were you having an affair with her?" she asks directly. Kamal stiffens. "No, I would never cross that line." Rachel does not know if she believes him. "Then why did you go to her house? Why were you so involved in her life?" Kamal looks troubled. He rubs his forehead. "Because Megan was troubled. She had a lot of pain from her past. She was searching for something. Happiness, love, meaning, but she didn't know where to find it." Rachel listens carefully. "Did she tell you anything about that night? The night she disappeared?" Kamal shakes his head. "She had missed her last appointment with me. I tried to call her, but she didn't answer. The next thing I knew, she was gone." Rachel feels frustrated. She thought Kamal would have more answers, but he seems just as lost as everyone else. Still, she knows one thing for sure. Megan had been hiding something, and whatever it was, it led to her disappearance. As Rachel walks home, she feels a sense of unease. She knows she is getting close to the truth, but she also knows that someone does not want her to find it. Rachel feels a growing sense of fear, but she cannot stop now. The more she learns, the more she realizes how much danger she might be in. She keeps thinking about Megan's pregnancy. If Megan had been pregnant, then who was the father? And did that have something to do with her disappearance? Rachel knows that Scott is becoming more unstable. His moods change quickly, and his anger is growing. She is starting to wonder if he had something to do with Megan's disappearance after all. She cannot ignore the way he grips her arm too tightly sometimes. The way he stares at her when he thinks she is not looking. He says he loved Megan. But what if he was also capable of hurting her? Rachel is not sure where else to turn. She decides to visit Anna again. She does not trust Anna, but she knows Anna might have seen or heard something important. She walks to the house, feeling nervous as she rings the doorbell. Anna opens the door but does not look happy to see her. "What do you want, Rachel?" she asks, crossing her arms. Rachel hesitates, then says, "I need to talk to you. It's about Megan." Anna sighs but lets her in. They sit in the living room and Rachel looks around. She used to live here. This was her home once. Now, Anna sits where she used to sit, and her child's toys are scattered across the floor. It makes Rachel feel sick. Anna watches her carefully. "What about Megan?" Rachel leans forward. "Did you see anything that night?" "The night she disappeared." Anna looks uncomfortable. "I've already told the police everything I know." Rachel does not believe her. "You live right here. You must have seen something." Anna hesitates. Then she says, "I saw you." Rachel's stomach drops. "Me?" Anna nods. "That night, I saw you outside. You were drunk. You were standing near the underpass." Rachel struggles to remember. The night is still a blur in her mind. Did I do something? Anna narrows her eyes. "I don't know, but you looked wrong. Like you were angry. Like you were waiting for someone." Rachel's heart pounds. She tries to push through the fog in her mind. She remembers getting off the train. She remembers walking. But after that, everything is dark. She leaves Anna's house feeling worse than before. If Anna saw her there, what else did she do that night? Could she have been involved in Megan's disappearance without even knowing it? Rachel feels desperate. She needs answers. She decides to go back to the underpass, the last place she remembers being that night. She stands there, staring at the tunnel, trying to force her mind to remember. The sound of a train passing above makes her heart race. She closes her eyes and focuses. Then, suddenly, a memory flashes in her mind. A man, a fight, a struggle, Megan's voice crying out. Rachel gasps. She remembers now. Megan was there that night, and she was not alone. Rachel takes a deep breath and forces herself to remember more. The man. His face is still blurry in her mind, but she knows him. She has seen him before. He was angry. Megan was scared. Then, Rachel remembers something else. Someone hit her hard. That is why she blacked out. Rachel stumbles backward, her breathing heavy. She was there that night. She saw Megan, and she saw the man who took her. She just has to remember who he is. Rachel stands frozen, her heart pounding as the memories come rushing back. The pieces of that night are no longer hidden in the fog of her mind. She remembers the fear in Megan's eyes, the struggle, the voice of a man, angry, threatening, and now she knows who that man is. It is Tom. The realization crashes over her like a wave, and she feels sick. Tom, her ex-husband, the man she once loved, is the one responsible for Megan's disappearance. The truth is right in front of her now, and everything finally makes sense. His lies, his temper, the way he controlled her and twisted the truth. He has been doing the same to everyone around him. Rachel rushes back home, her thoughts racing. She has to tell someone. She has to stop him before it is too late. But she is also afraid. Tom has always been manipulative, always making her doubt herself. He convinced her that she was the problem in their marriage, that she was imagining things, that she was crazy. But she is not crazy. Not this time. As she nears Tom and Anna's house, she slows down. The lights inside are on. Anna is home. Rachel knows she has to warn her. She cannot let Anna and her child stay in danger. She knocks on the door, her hands shaking. Anna answers, looking annoyed at first. But when she sees the expression on Rachel's face, she frowns. "What's wrong?" Anna asks. Rachel steps inside quickly, closing the door behind her. "It's Tom," she says, her voice urgent. "He killed Megan." Anna's eyes widen, but then she shakes her head. "That's not possible." Rachel grabs her hands. "Listen to me. That night, I was near the underpass. I saw them, Tom and Megan. They were arguing, and then I blacked out. But I remember now. He hit me. Anna, he was there. He hurt her." Anna pulls away, disbelief on her face. Tom wouldn't do that. Rachel's heart sinks. She understands. She had also believed in Tom's lies for so long. But Anna does not know the full truth yet. Just then, the front door opens. Tom walks in. His expression is calm. But when he sees Rachel standing in his home, his eyes darken. "What's going on?" he asks, closing the door behind him. His voice is smooth, controlled, but Rachel can hear the tension underneath. Anna looks at him, confused. Rachel says you were with Megan the night she disappeared. Tom's face barely changes, but Rachel sees it. The slight flicker of surprise, and then in an instant he recovers. He lets out a small laugh and shakes his head. "Rachel's drunk again, isn't she?" He looks at Anna. "You know how she is. She always makes up stories." Rachel clenches her fists. She will not let him twist the truth this time. "I remember now, Tom," she says firmly. "I saw you. You were with Megan. You hurt her." Tom sighs, running a hand through his hair. "This is ridiculous." He turns to Anna. "You don't actually believe her, do you?" Anna hesitates. For the first time, doubt crosses her face. She looks between Rachel and Tom. She wants to believe her husband, but deep down, she knows something is wrong. Rachel takes a deep breath. Check his phone. Anna, check his emails. Look at his messages with Megan. You'll see the truth. Tom's expression hardens. Enough, he snaps. Then, suddenly, he moves toward Rachel, grabbing her wrist tightly. His grip is strong, painful. Rachel gasps, struggling to pull away. Anna stands frozen, her mind racing. She sees the way Tom is holding Rachel, the way his face has changed, and then something clicks. She remembers the strange phone calls, the way Tom dismissed her questions about Megan, the little things that never quite made sense. Let her go, Anna says, her voice shaking. Tom ignores her. He tightens his grip on Rachel. You need to leave, he says through clenched teeth. But Anna is no longer blind. She rushes to the kitchen, grabs something, anything, a sharp object, a corkscrew. She turns back and holds it up. I said let her go. Tom glances at her, and for the first time, he looks uncertain. He does not like losing control. Rachel takes the chance to twist free, stumbling back. It's over, Tom, she says. The police will find out. Tom's breathing is heavy. He knows it too. He cannot talk his way out of this anymore. Anna grips the corkscrew tighter. Get out, she whispers. For a long moment, Tom just stands there. Then slowly he takes a step back. He looks at Rachel, then at Anna. His face is unreadable, but Rachel can see the rage beneath the surface. Without another word, Tom turns and walks out the door. The silence is deafening. Rachel and Anna look at each other, both shaken, both realizing how close they were to real danger. Rachel exhales shakily. We need to call the police. Anna nods. Yes. And for the first time in a long time, Rachel feels clear. She remembers everything now. The truth is out, and Tom can no longer control her. That's the end of the story. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe for more exciting tales. Check out our other videos and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for the next adventure. Thanks for watching.